Thank you very much, Ambassador Zanier. Congratulations for setting up this meeting, and thank you for all of those who are participating. It's nice to see many of you on this important issue after the summer break. Thank you, Madam President, for your remarks and your leadership. I think you have basically covered most of the things I would want to say. I think you have touched on the very important issues that have brought this assembly to debate this issue of the war in Ukraine. I have very little to add beside saying that, as I did in Birmingham, say that I am very proud of how this Parliamentary Assembly has conducted itself after the 24th of February. I think under your leadership, we have been always very much on target. We've had extraordinary sessions of the Standing Committee. We've had extraordinary sessions of the Bureau. We've been very much right on message and on public messaging. You have personally been very much also active through your Twitter account on the situation. So I think we have been in the public domain and in the tools that we have as Parliamentary Assembly, we have conducted ourselves in the most optimal way we could. I would like also to recall the fact that we had 2 field visits in very good timing. One immediately after the explosion of the war, when we went to see what happened in Poland and how Poland has supported the Ukrainian refugees. I think you led a mission there that also bear the testimony of this assembly to the plight of the refugees. But I think most importantly, the visit, Madam President, you led in Kiev and Irpin and Bucha, the days before preceding the annual session. Probably because we were in the midst of the annual session, we've not had time to actually digest and discuss this visit that you led in Kiev. But I think this left yourself and the leaders that were with you, Vice President Pons, Vice President Lopatka, Kari Eriksson, and myself, very much emotionally shattered by what we saw in Bucha and Irpin. And I think the fact that we have not so much discussed about that visit should not overshadow the fact that what we have witnessed is something that is very, very touching, and made me reflect on how terrible and how low can humankind go, and also in sometimes denying things that have happened. So I think I'm very proud of what has happened afterwards in Birmingham and the very strong stand that this assembly has taken with its final declaration, where we once again stressed what we have been stressing from 2014, and a clear, gross and uncorrected violation of the Helsinki Final Act. I mean, we've said it very clearly in 2014, we have repeated it in Birmingham. I think of all these acts of the Assembly, I'm extremely proud of. But I would like to say also, Madam President, that you've defended the postures of this Assembly, not only in these venues, but also in Kiev itself. And you've also defended the Assembly's principle, as you've underlined the appointments that you've made, which is also an Assembly to promote dialogue. I know that this is something that in a very polarized world as it is now, where there is a clear stand between 2 sides, talking about dialogue is something that is challenging. But you've had the courage to appoint a person who is in charge of promoting parliamentary dialogue. But have you actually had the courage to defend this appointment while you were in Kiev? I witnessed myself the difficulties that you had in a meeting with the Speaker of the Ukrainian Parliament, Mr. Stefanchuk, who of course was concerned. What does this mean? You know, how can we have dialogue in this moment? But there you strenuously defended the DNA of this assembly, which is also an assembly that has to promote dialogue. And I think this assembly and the OSCE as such in the future will be challenged, because we are going more and more towards a polarized world. So those who are in between, those who are by nature in their work building bridges or trying to find venues of dialogue or promoting avenues for trying to solve issues, will be inevitably challenged, regardless of the fact that they have very strong ideas and very clearly condemned what has happened. But by the simple fact that you will also move forward from the clear an ambiguous condemnation of what has happened, but also make the further step of saying, okay, where we take it from now, as you have done in the leadership of this assembly, we will be inevitably in a challenged situation. So I'd like to commend, Madam President, your role also in defending the acquis, let's say, of the organization and the Parliamentary Assembly as such. So thank you very much. I look forward for the debate, and I hope that this will produce good results. Thank you.